John Cena is upset with Triple H for destroying his farewell run. WWE made huge mistakes on Raw. AJ Styles says someone in WWE is trying to push him out. Brie Bella regrets returning after childbirth. The Undertaker and Triple H's involvement in AAA is not what you think. Condolences to former WWE Superstar Killian Dain. Matt Hardy's heartbreaking message after tragic death of his friend Paul Heyman breaks silence on Roman Reigns after clash in Paris. The Rock finally speaks out on his dramatic weight loss. Let's dive right in. WWE made huge mistakes on Raw. Raw jumped right on the momentum from AJ Lee's SmackDown return, booking her first match in over 10 years without missing a beat. The former Divas champion traded sharp words with Becky Lynch before calling for a tag team clash. The mixed tag bout got locked in for WrestlePalooza in less than 2 weeks. The Judgment Day kept crumbling as Dominic Mysterio clashed with the rest of the crew. Penta and Nikki Bella landed surprise matches after run-ins with Rusev and Asuka backstage. Even with solid fights and solid talk, Raw dropped the ball hard with these 4 big errors. Number 1, Penta takes another brutal loss. Penta picked up a win last week in 6-man action alongside the War Raiders, but he still fell short against Rusev in a key showdown. Pairing them up felt off from the start, since both guys need more victories than defeats. Rusev had just beaten Sheamus in a good old-fashioned Donnybrook at Clash in Paris, so a loss would have killed his drive. The Mexican powerhouse draws huge cheers on any show. He handled Grayson Waller and Xavier Woods with ease, but dropped the fall to Kofi Kingston. Penta even grilled General Manager Pierce on whether he didn't like his style. Pierce set the match for Raw, with the New Day and Waller stirring chaos to throw off their rival. Number 2, The Vision acts like strangers. Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch tangled with CM Punk and AJ Lee. Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker kicked off and wrapped Raw, scrapping with LA Knight and the Usos. It's okay for The Vision to chase their own beefs, but it's downright odd that the group never bumped into each other or chatted backstage all night. Back in the day, bookers had the Judgment Day huddle in their clubhouse every episode or so. Skipping any team huddle makes them feel like lone wolves. This played out last week too, when the Judgment Day's guys and gals ran segments one after another but never linked up. Number 3, Heroes tank 4 out of 5 matches. Raw's latest show packed in 5 matches, but here's the twist. The babyfaces dropped 4 of them. AJ Styles stood alone as the good guy victor, pinning El Grande Americano. Even that win came with dirty tricks from the outside. When the bad guys pulled ahead, WWE leaned on the same old plays. Asuka didn't straight up cheat to beat Bella, but she shoved Kairi Sane right into her way. Roxanne Perez rattled Lyra Valkyria with distractions and cheap shots to hand Raquel Rodriguez the W. Penta had to dodge 4 foes just to face Rusev. With heels holding every belt, piling on more losses for the faces feels way off. Number 4, Stephanie Vaquer ghosts Raw. No matter the reason she skipped, keeping Stephanie Vaquer off Raw with under 2 weeks until her title shot at WrestlePalooza was a total whiff. Pierce told Sky the planned contract signing was scrapped. He just said Vaquer wasn't around for it. If travel snags or last-second hitches forced the switch, that's understandable. But it piles onto her spotty screen time since grabbing the shot at Evolution 2025. Choosing to bench her on Raw when everything's smooth, though, turns the oversight into a glaring fail. AJ Styles says someone in WWE is trying to push him out. AJ Styles let loose during a commercial break on the September 8th, 2025 episode of Raw. Right before his clash with El Grande Americano, the Phenomenal One snatched a mic and unleashed a Raw rant that only arena fans and uncut feed viewers caught. In that unfiltered moment, Styles vented about standing alone with no allies, hinting that someone in WWE set it up that way on purpose. For the first time in my career, I've got no one watching my back. Gallows, Anderson, they're not here. Mishin, she's on SmackDown. It's like someone orchestrated a way for me not to win anymore, not to have help. I'll let you make your own conclusions. He even nodded to the break, suggesting his words were too hot for the screen. By the way, we are here right now and all over the world. But to rest everybody, is it a commercial break? I'm telling you something that you're probably not supposed to hear, but somebody doesn't want me here. For the match, Styles aimed higher than victory. He wanted to send a message for anyone ever sidelined. What we're going to do is you're going to beat the piss out of Grande Americano tonight, so that the person that doesn't want me here anymore can feel a little bit of his pain, and mine also. Styles always speaks his mind, but this felt raw and unscripted, like genuine frustration spilling out. Plenty think his words weren't planned, and he might have taken a swing at Triple H for mishandling his spot in WWE. If that's the case, the King of the Kings could hit back by keeping Styles buried in bad spots. The former world champion already dropped 2 falls to Dominic Mysterio in intercontinental title fights, signaling WWE has no plans to put gold on him soon. For context, AJ Styles' WWE contract reportedly ends in early 2026. That twist makes the promo feel like it could be storyline fuel to amp up his name ahead of time. In the end, only the weeks ahead will show if AJ Styles' outburst is kayfabe or his real gripe with WWE booking. Lots of fans draw parallels to CM Punk's legendary pipe bomb, but the Triple H creative team's moves make the vet's words land even harder. Viewers spotted that WWE's official X account skipped any nod to Styles' off-air blast. Normally, the Stamford-based company blasts out highlights and play-by-play on social media. With zero mention of his bold talk on Raw, it stirs talk of a deeper plot brewing. This amps up the idea that Styles aimed straight at the chief content officer. Whether WWE tackles the vet's comments soon stays to be seen. Brie Bella regrets returning after childbirth. WWE Hall of Famer Brie Bella is getting real about a choice that still haunts her, jumping back into the ring way too soon after having her first baby. On the Nikki and Brie show, the former WWE star got asked about her biggest career mistake. She didn't skip a beat, zeroing in on her quick postpartum return to wrestling. A step she now sees was all about making others happy instead of listening to her body. I guess a huge regret was the way I felt like I needed to come back when I was 7 months postpartum, maybe at that time, maybe 10, and I think as we were filming both reality shows, they were really pushing me to be like, get back in the ring, let's do like a Brie comeback. But I did not feel ready, and I kind of just let everyone plan everything for me. Brie opened up about how the squeeze from WWE and shooting their reality shows, Total Divas and Total Bellas, pushed her into saying yes when deep down she knew better. She owned up to her habit of always putting people first, a people-pleaser streak that meant she ignored her own needs for way too long. For so long, I did everything for everyone, especially when we were filming the reality show. I felt obligated, almost like I owed everyone something, so if someone asked something of me, I just did it without thinking like, do I want to? Am I ready? I never thought about myself. So I did so much for so many people, like a people-pleaser mentality, that I think I did a disservice to myself until I got into my 40s. You know what I mean? These days, in her 40s with a sharper view of life, Brie is all about her own health and calm first. It's a raw look back from a woman who spent most of her grown-up years under the spotlight. What do you make of Brie Bella's tough lesson? Should WWE and the reality TV folks have given her more space to heal, or was it fully her choice? Drop your take in the comments. We're all ears. The Undertaker and Triple H's involvement in AAA is not what you think. WWE's takeover of AAA brought a full shakeup to the Mexican company's creative team. Many thought Triple H and The Undertaker were running the show, but that's not the full story. Ernesto Ocampo from Super Luchas spilled the details on the true setup inside AAA. He made it clear that Triple H isn't hands-on with the creative side, even though WWE's story paints him as the big brain behind it all. The real leader is Jeremy Barash, who handles the main producing and acts as chief creative officer. Conan backs him up, knowing the company's vibe best, but he's shifted to more of an advisor these days. The Undertaker doesn't have any official spot. He just shows up at AAA events because he loves the action and keeps cheering it on that way. What we know is that Triple H actually has no involvement in AAA's creative side, but with WWE's new narrative, it's important for him to appear as the genius behind it all. The main producer and chief creative officer is Jeremy Barash, supported by Conan, who is the most familiar with the direction of the company, though he now acts more as an advisor. The Undertaker doesn't really have an official position. He just wanted to attend AAA events and continue supporting them, and there's no one as passionate about the product as he is, Ernesto Ocampo said. This news drops after Triple H called The Undertaker the key player in WWE and AAA's push into Mexico. Now that the actual creative crew is out in the open, it's clearer who's steering AAA's fresh path, and it'll be worth watching how the partnership plays out in the weeks ahead. Do you think Jeremy Barash and Conan make the perfect pair to shape AAA's creative future, or should Triple H and The Undertaker step in more? Let us know in the comments. Condolences to former WWE Superstar Killian Dain. Former WWE star Killian Dain is grieving a deep personal blow right now. The big man wrestles on the indie scene as Big Damo these days and is married to Nikki Cross in real life. Today, he turned to social media to announce his mother's passing. He said she always let him chase big dreams and stood by him every step. Dain posted family photos too, and here's his touching tribute. R.I.P. to my mother, Fiona Elizabeth Mackle. She allowed me to dream big, then supported me every step of the way. She leaves an incredible hole in all our lives, but we were so lucky to have her. Our days de Goreb Ahanam, he wrote. Dain worked for WWE from 2016 to 2021. He popped up on the May 20th, 2022, AEW Rampage after leaving. Killian Dain once opened up about a chat with AJ Styles before his spot in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal at WrestleMania 33. In an exclusive Sportskeeda wrestling interview, the vet shared how Styles eased his nerves right before the big stage. Styles pointed out they'd wrestled in front of tiny crowds before, and that light moment cut through the stress for Dain. It was very cool because I'll tell you right, I was about to make my entrance and AJ Styles comes over to me because we'd been on a bunch of shows for a couple of years leading up to that, but one particular show was that January. So literally like before AJ went to the Rumble, we did a tour in Britain, and I think there was only 200 people in the building. So he's laughing at me saying, from 200 people to this? So that was pretty cool. AJ is a character, and it was very cool that he said that. It maybe broke the tension for me, revealed Killian Dain. Our hearts go out to Killian Dain and his family in this tough moment. Matt Hardy's heartbreaking message after tragic death of his friend. Matt Hardy shared a gut-wrenching tribute after losing his close friend and former WWE wrestler Chuck Coates, who was 63. Cynthia, Chuck's wife, broke the news on social media, saying it was a post she never imagined writing. Her husband drew his final breath at 3:44 a.m. while she held his hand. She asked for prayers as their family faces the tough days ahead. Chuck had been fighting heart issues since his bypass surgery. "This is not a post I ever thought I'd have to make. My wonderful husband Chuck Coates took his last breath on earth and his first breath in heaven at 3:44 a.m. while I held his hand. Please pray for our family as we navigate the days ahead," Cynthia said. Matt Hardy responded with sorrow, sending his friend off with peace. Coates was a key part of Omega, the wrestling group Matt and his brother Jeff started, which kicked off careers for guys like Shannon Moore, Shane Helms, and plenty more. Hardy pointed out that Coates beat cancer and always kept a bright, upbeat spirit. R.I.P. to my friend, Chuck Coates. He was an Omega guy, a staple of the NC indie scene in the 90s and a human being of the highest quality. Chuck was a cancer survivor who always carried a positive and uplifting attitude everywhere he went. Saw him for the last about a month ago at WrestleCon SummerSlam. Rest in peace and power, my friend, Hardy wrote. Chuck Coates wrestled in WCW and WWE, putting over rising stars and going toe-to-toe with legends like Kurt Angle, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Andre the Giant, Sting, Lex Luger, and others. In 2013, Matt Hardy revived Omega for an event called Chinlock for Chuck, a fundraiser where all the money went to help Chuck battle non-Hodgkin lymphoma back then. Paul Heyman breaks silence on Roman Reigns after Clash in Paris. Paul Heyman took a vicious hit from Roman Reigns at Clash in Paris 2025, caught in a guillotine hold. He reposted a few things on Twitter/X before finally speaking out about the ordeal, slapping Reigns with a fresh nickname. At Clash in Paris 2025, Reigns beat Big Bronson Reed, dubbed the Tribal Thief. That tag poked fun at the Tribal Chief, since Reed swiped Reigns' shoes twice and wore them like a twisted ulafala, hilariously called the Shula Fala. After pinning Reed, Reigns got his shoes back from Paul Heyman, who handed them over willingly. Then Reigns struck back, locking in the guillotine for payback after Heyman's betrayal of both CM Punk and the Tribal Chief at WrestleMania 41. After the Usos roasted Paul Heyman in Raw's opening bit, Heyman fired back at the attack by dubbing Roman Reigns the fascist dictator of the island of relevancy. It was a sharp, over-the-top jab from Heyman, but Braun Breaker is still raging about the hit on him. No one knows why he showed up so late to Clash in Paris 2025. He only jumped in after Heyman got wrecked, taking Reigns down as he tossed his shoes to the Paris crowd. On Raw, Breaker geared up to clash with the Usos over what happened to Paul Heyman, but Bronson Reed stepped in as the calm head, pulling him back. That didn't keep LA Knight from storming out and jumping both guys, but even with the assault on Heyman, Reigns ended up getting hammered so bad he landed in the hospital. He's out for a long stretch now, and Heyman might beat him back to action. The Rock finally speaks out on his dramatic weight loss. The truth behind The Rock's big weight drop while away from WWE is out. The legend hasn't shown up since teaming with John Cena at Elimination Chamber 2025. At the Toronto Film Festival, the Great One explained why he shed so much weight. He's playing a quirky 70-year-old guy called Chicken Man in a new movie named Lizard Music. Benny Safdie, who also directed The Rock and The Smashing Machine, is helming the film. Benny pitched me this and after about 45 minutes, this pitch ended and I said, "I am your Chicken Man," he said. Inside sources recently weighed in on The Rock's weight loss, saying it proves he's done with WWE for good. On Sportskeeda Wrestling's Writing with Inside Sources show, the vet pointed out that the Brahma Bull is all in on acting now, and the huge change shows his real focus. Yeah, bro, for him to go through that transformation, he ain't coming back to wrestling anytime soon, if at all. If at all, bro. He continued, "Well, the good news is there's a bright side to this. Thank God they got AJ Lee to step into The Rock's shoes there. Thank God AJ Lee will slip right in The Rock's shoes and will never miss a beat, bro." Inside sources said. The 53-year-old hasn't wrestled since joining Roman Reigns to beat Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins on night 1 of WWE WrestleMania 40. Whether the final boss steps back into the ring someday is anyone's guess. John Cena is upset with Triple H for destroying his farewell run. Inside sources believe John Cena might secretly hate his heel phase. The legend is wrapping up his career on a farewell tour. At Elimination Chamber, Cena shocked everyone by turning heel and jumping Cody Rhodes. He grabbed his record 17th World Championship at WrestleMania 41. During that dark run, he even trashed the fans. But as SummerSlam loomed, Cena flipped back to babyface. On the latest Sportskeeda's Writing with Russo, inside sources broke down how Cena likely feels WWE blew the first part of his retirement story. They pointed to behind-the-scenes clashes with The Rock that killed the plot. The old writer felt sorry for Cena, saying his big send-off got squandered, and he missed out on merch cash too. Well, John Cena gotta think the first half of it was totally wasted. Bro, listen, obviously something went down behind the scenes we don't know about. There was some kind of falling out with Rock, and they were not able to see this thing through, I guess, the way they thought they were going to see it through. But it's really unfortunate for Cena because this was it. This was the last run, and they wasted half of his time in an angle that went absolutely nowhere. They didn't try to cover it, and he just lost a lot of time, not to mention what he lost in merch money for a couple of months there, inside sources said. John Cena's got a monster fight coming up. Last week on SmackDown, Brock Lesnar burst in and crushed him with a savage F5. The Beast then threw down the gauntlet for a WrestlePalooza match before storming out. Next week's Raw packs a punch, and WWE's going all out. After a crazy September 8th show at Fiserv Forum in Milwaukee, WWE heads to Mass Mutual Center in Springfield, Massachusetts for the September 15th, 2025 episode, and the lineup's already loaded with drama. Leading it all, AJ Lee and CM Punk square off with Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch in a segment primed for fireworks. WWE sealed their WrestlePalooza mixed tag this week, and now these four powerhouses will share space for what could turn into a savage verbal brawl. It's official too. Lyra Valkyria collides with Roxanne Perez. Their bad blood has simmered for weeks, especially as the Judgment Day fractures inside. With the group's clubhouse vibes cracking, Lyra might snag a breakout victory in Springfield. Plus, John Cena's hitting the arena. Details on his role are hush, but with his farewell heating up, WWE won't squander his spotlight. Which Raw highlight grabs you most? Cena's comeback, Punk and AJ stare down, or Lyra versus Roxanne?